What happens when two people realize they're no longer willing to settle for comfortable? My guests today are Jenice and Dell Burton, the founders of SugarPlum Kids Spa Salon in Trussville. And like many entrepreneurs, their journey didn't begin with a business plan. It began with a growing sense that there had to be something more. Jenise was experiencing burnout as an educator. Dell was feeling stuck in corporate America. At the same time, their daughter sparked an idea that eventually became a business unlike anything else in the area. In this episode, we're going to be talking about how they stepped out on faith, took risks, and built a business as a husband and wife team while raising a family, starting a company, and what they've learned about entrepreneurship along the way. Jenice and Dell, welcome to Locally Owned.
Hello.
Hello, David. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us, Dave.
You are welcome. It's my honor, man. I'm so excited to have you guys on here. Your story is just, it's amazing. Where you guys started, how you got your idea for your business. So tell us a little bit about yourselves before SugarPlum Kids came along.
You can go first.
Okay, so before SugarPlum Kids came along, I was a fourth grade teacher. Just comfortable teaching. I'd always told myself and told Dale I just had I'm going to work 30 years and I'm going to retire and I'm going to live comfortably. So that's what I was doing, raising our children, teaching. I had been teaching almost 10 years, and so our kids were younger then. So yeah, it was just really working home.
Yeah, no, that's a great age too, because
Yeah.
they're old enough to learn some things, but they're not quite at the teen years where they turn into
Right.
monsters.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yep.
That's
Yep.
right.
Yep.
That's so true.
yeah, so nice. How about you, Dell? What you were involved in corporate America?
Yeah, so I was, my background is IT. So I've probably been in IT over 20 years and just kind of helped us move up to different management roles, leadership roles in corporate America. And first, where I worked, it was good. It was a good job. I'm not going to downplay it and say that, it's this terrible place because no job is perfect. But I did think, after you been in a position for so long, you always want to think about growth, bettering yourself. And I felt I hit the ceiling. I just felt I had come to a point to where it was nothing else. And when you feel that, I was like, it has to be something more. So the blessing is though, with me having an IT background, when we stepped out and started our business, I'm essentially, everything. IT, plumber, electrician, whatever it may be. So, yeah, but I'm never the boss, Dave. But I'm never the boss. I was a leader. I had a leadership role, but I was never the boss. So we'll talk about that later. But and I just kind of felt that I was dragging. My wife was telling me, Jenise was saying like she actually could sense it when I would come home. Or like over the
Sunday
weekend.
evenings,
Sunday
Dave.
evening, she said she could just see I was just changed.
Yeah.
Like
When
getting ready to go back into the work week. And it was just like, it just has to be more. I think we were built for more. And that was the main thing, just stayed. And I would often talk to her. And it wasn't, I just know I got to the point to where I think I'm not fulfilling my destiny or doing what more I can do in life.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and if you realize you hit the ceiling and you're a young man, it's like, wow, I got 30 more years of this, and
Right.
I'm topping out here. So, and what about you, Janice? You're in the job that you want to be in, and like, what made it go, all right, I'm ready for something different?
I think just, we all hear the stories about being an educator and, and it was just wearing on me, the behavior problems in the classroom and just, I don't know, I could tell that, okay, God is pushing me to do something else because I know it didn't start that way. And all of a sudden, my last 2 years before transitioning out of the classroom, it got heavier and heavier. And I don't know, it was just like a spiritual nudge that I just felt like, yeah, your time is up, and God knew that if he didn't make me uncomfortable, I was just the type of person that I love comfort. I love to be safe, and if he didn't nudge me, I wasn't gonna go on my own. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was a part of the journey looking back on it. At the time that it was taking place, I was stressed, I was, anxious, all those
You don't see
feelings.
it.
I'm like,
You don't
what is
see it
going on?
while you're in it, sometimes you don't.
You don't.
You
Yeah.
have to look back. But I will, to kind of add to what she's saying, we kept saying that there's greater. I will say this. I tell people, be careful what you ask for. Because later, while you're going through it, you're kind of asking questions. But the blessing is, and my subtle reminder was that God is like, but you want greater.
Yeah.
But you want greater.
Yeah.
And see, when he decides to take you to that greater you want, he's going to do it his way.
That's true.
And that's the part we don't want to go through.
The
Yeah.
discomfort.
Yeah. Well, we have our idea of what greater looks like
Right.
and how we're going to get there, but it's
Yeah.
often not even close
Right. Right.
to God's
Not even.
idea and
Because
his path.
we want the grader to be easy. We want it to be painless. We just want it to be smooth and
Right,
you
right.
know,
Yeah, God to just kind of zap us with the
right, right,
yeah,
And then what
yeah,
he does, he laughs. He's like, oh, y'all are funny.
right. Yeah, yeah. So
yeah. Well, yeah, I almost am afraid to ask God for anything because it's like, yeah, I know what you're gonna do to me when I ask for that.
That's it.
exactly.
So
So you understand, like, oh, I've kind of been down this road before with you
Right,
guys.
yeah,
right.
yeah. If nothing else, I've learned humility. I don't want that. I don't need anything greater. I'm good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, so you know, so you guys both sort of got to this point at the same time then, or relatively
Well,
close, where
That's a good question.
you're
well,
both feeling
no.
it. What
Well, and so
conversation you had, or was it just like,
it's funny, Dave, because when Dale and I first, like as we were dating and we entered marriage, he would always say, freedom, working for yourself, freedom, working for yourself. That was, and I would always be like, no,
Resistance.
like
Resistance.
that's weird. That's scary. I'm not,
Resistance.
yeah, I would always resist that. And so I wouldn't say we got there at the same time. It was always in Dale. But
okay,
a shift had to happen for me. You know, my mindset wasn't, my mindset was just safe.
yeah, yeah, and I think that's pretty normal. I think just the dynamics between men and women. Men are
Yeah.
usually a little more comfortable with risk than
Yeah.
women are, and so yeah. So Dale, you were sort of waiting for her to get there, then, huh?
I would definitely say that. I would drop things, say things, and I understood because let's be honest, the tradition is good and bad because we grow up traditionally saying go to school, get a job, work this job 30, 40 years, retire, live life. So that's but see, some tradition has to change. And I was just like, my father, he's a great a good example for me. He worked hard, but then after a while I kind of saw what it was doing to him. And I was just like, I think each generation should go a little higher. And I was just in my mindset, I look at my children, I'm like, they should go higher than us. So, but in order for them to go higher than us, we have to set the example to show them how to
Yeah,
do it.
Yeah.
And I would think the biggest thing is just we never sat down and be like, freedom, we're on our own business. It was just like, okay, what's next?
Right.
What is next? And so
We
when
didn't
I
know it was gonna be a business.
so when I would always kind of tell that to her, she is exactly complete. We are opposites do attract because we are opposites in that realm.
I'm a planner.
She's a
Like it
planner.
just has to make sense. It's got to be realistic.
The
It's
numbers have to
yeah,
line up.
yeah,
Probably
yeah,
I'm gonna jump out the plane and then tell them to throw the parachute to me on the down.
yes,
She gonna
yes,
probably be like, hey, do I have four of them on my back?
right.
right.
So,
Yeah.
but it kind of they intertwine together. That's the beauty, because where she's the planner, I'm more of a go-getter, what she has evolved into now, but you need both sides to
Right.
kind of make the puzzle fit. And I think because I learned so much from her about being that planner, being strategic, and at the same time, she's learned from me. We can't be comfortable if we're going to grow. We
Right.
can't be comfortable if we're going to show our children how to make their dreams come true.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is bigger than yourselves. You know, you're trying to not just create this business and let it be the way you make a living. It's also part of teaching your kids on
Right.
what life is about. Oh,
That's
it's
right.
amazing. So so you reach this point where you're both a little burned out, you're topped out at work, and you're thinking there's got to be more. So you're the planner, and this is not in your plan, Jenise.
At
That's
all.
that's a
Help the
good
guy
point.
that's ready to jump off the cliff and say, "Hey, tuck me that parachute on the
Right.
way down."
Right.
Um, You know, I want to pause here for just a second because I think there's something really important that business owners and honestly any relationship can learn from what Dell and Jenise are saying. So often we look at a couple like this and think maybe our thinking goes that one of them's right and the other one's wrong. You know, like being a dreamer and a risk taker is right, or no, you got to plan things out. That's the right way. But listening to them both, I don't think that that's what happened at all. I think Dell had the courage to imagine a future that didn't exist yet, and Jenise had the wisdom to make sure they didn't run toward it blindly. And one person pulled the family toward possibility while the other protected the family from taking an unnecessary risk. Neither of those is enough by itself. If you only have the dreamer, you can end up jumping out of the airplane without a parachute. But if you only have the planner, you can spend your whole life standing safely on the runway while the plane takes off without you. The magic isn't that they finally started agreeing. The magic is that they learned to dance this dance and to trust what the other person naturally brought to the table. Dell helped Jenise become more comfortable with taking risks, and Jenise helped Dell become more strategic about the risks he took. And that's what makes a partnership really powerful. So there's got to be this mix of excitement and fear of,
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. So, we had gotten to the place. I was coming home every day. I'm like, Dale, this cannot be it. Like I would dread going to work. So what we did as a family, we said, okay, we're gonna fast and pray just to get some answers. Try to, see what God says about all of this. And just on the backside of fasting and praying, not even knowing what was going to come out of it, our daughter one day just decides she wants to have a spa party. She's 5, Dave. I'm like, a spa
What you
party?
know
What
about a
do you
spa
know
party?
about a spa party? And
My wife hasn't been to a
What,
spa.
what is a spa party?
yeah, and she tells me what all she wants to do at the spa party, and she wants to get her nails done. She wants to do makeup. She wants the facial and all that. I'm like, okay. And so I said, well, baby, I don't know if we'll be able to do that. But in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to start researching. So I started Googling, like, maybe kid spas.
It's a
And
good thing she talked to you because if she talked to Dell, Dell be like, yeah, when you're 30, you can do that.
right,
Hey, and Dave, I'd be like cutting grass. So let's get going.
right. Yeah. Yeah. And so we just kind of searched around. We looked on in Hoover, Inverness, Highway 280. Nothing. We knew nothing was in Trussville because we lived in Trussville. And I said, well, Dale, I guess we'll just have her something at the house.
And mind you, Dave, we were never looking to
No.
start a business. It was just something different for our daughter for a birthday party. Because you have the cheese places, you have the jump parts, you have all
Right.
those things. And you just wanted to do something completely different.
Yeah, and so we had it here at home. I had some cousins come over and help, and we had like little stations set up. We had like the makeup station, facial station, nail station, and the girls had so much fun. I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
nice. I'm glad everybody enjoyed it. It still never hit me.
It
I
was
was like, oh,
nice.
that was
It
great.
was
Nice
nice,
little
okay,
party.
nice party. Now everybody go home.
Yeah, and that next week I was in the girls' room, Dave. I still remember this. Like I have a visual in my head. I was getting the girls ready. I was in their room and it just hit me like, this is for you to start.
Oh,
And I'm
wow.
like,
Yes, and I was at work, and so
yeah.
she called me, and you're gonna laugh at this, Dave, because this is the jumping out of the plane part.
So I called Dale at work and I said, Dale, you know,
Spirit.
because as you fast and pray, like, you know, you're able to hear the spirit more or whatever. And I was like, Dale, I really think it's on me to look into starting a like a kid spa or whatever. He said, let's do it. And I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah,
No.
you're supposed to talk me out of this.
Hey,
But you
look,
knew though, you knew you had to have known, like, oh, when I tell Dell he's gonna be ready to jump, and so you had
Yeah.
to have known that was coming.
I just figured he would ask a few more
hey, Dave, I was
questions.
halfway already. I was halfway already hanging out the plane, so I just need a reason to let go, baby.
Right. And so I just thought he would ask more questions, Dave, like, hey, where's this coming from? You know, no, he has no questions. He said, let's do it.
We've been talking this for 10 years because it's coming up on 10 years. I'm like, I've been waiting on you to call me with this,
Yeah.
with this. This is what I've been waiting. I am not gonna try to talk you out of it. So
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. So
Yeah. So
so you just thought. Now, do you think that had anything to do with the fasting and praying that it became like?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
100%.
I was at the end of myself. I just, I was stressed. I didn't know, okay, what is next out of this? Because there is no absolute way that God wants us to live life like this. Because I was just miserable.
So Dave, I'm glad you brought that up because in the Bible, it's, long story short, it just talks about when the disciples couldn't heal a certain kid, and Jesus had to come in and heal him. So later on, the disciples asked him, they said, why we couldn't do it, basically. And he told us that this can come by prayer and fasting. So I said it to say this, a lot of times we want something different, but are you willing to do the different that it takes to get to that next level? And a lot of times when with us working our jobs, we are doing what we can do in our own power. So God's saying that's nice and that's cute, but if you want to go higher, it's going to require more trust in me. So now you have to sacrifice. You have to give something up and then watch me step in. So I think then once that, so your question, did it come by the fasting and prayer? Yes, because I think once you try to show God that you're trusting Him more, He's gonna like, okay, now let's go higher.
Release more.
Yeah. 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 I mean, there's a mystery to it, that we just don't ever really understand,
Yeah.
but you just have to be open to the fact that
Yeah.
that you're going to do this, because I've been in that situation, where I've prayed and fasted about things, and I can't always say that I come away with that clear of an answer,
I agree.
so
Right.
and,
Yeah.
and
I agree.
but then sometimes when I do, it's like, okay, there's there's a much stronger sense of, I now have a responsibility to act on this, because this
Yeah.
is this is the answer I received, and
Right.
I can't now not do something about it.
Right.
That's right.
That's right.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And of course, we gave the shorter version, but it was a journey. I don't want to deceive anybody and make them think, oh, you fast and pray today, tomorrow you may have an answer. You don't know when the answer is going to come. You don't know how it's going to come. Because I never thought birthing a kid spa on the backside of praying and fasting and all. I didn't even see that coming. And that's to your point, Dave. Like you don't. You just don't, you don't know.
The word you used earlier, Dave, was humble. It's a humble experience.
Yeah.
And I think when you step into that realm of it, that's when you kind of find, and we really realize how much power we don't have.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah.
so true.
Yeah. No, you're right. So okay, so just for our listeners, describe what Sugar Plum Kids Spa and Salon is all about. Because I'm sure
So
from that day, and I'd love to hear what your idea was that day, and then what it became, what it is now. But yeah, Tell our listeners what it's about and then kind of the progression there.
Yes, and so SugarPlum Kids Spa and Salon first started out as just in our minds a fun party place, like a party venue for kids. Okay, it's solely for kids. We do have like a mommy and me package and a daddy and me package, but outside of that, this is just a pamper place for kids to get their nails done, toes, facials, makeup, little cute updos, parties. That is what we were thinking in our mind. Well, as it grew a little more, as the business evolved a little more, we saw that a very lucrative part of SugarPlum Kids Spa and Salon was the natural hair side of it, which was the salon side, which means girls getting their hair braided, braids for the summer, pageant hair, and that brought us into opening up the suite that we have right next door to our original suite. So to answer your question, it first just started out as just like a party venue, but then we noticed that, man, we are getting a lot of bookings from people needing their hair done, parents needing help with their kids' hair. We were getting a ton of bookings from that, and we were operating all in that one space, that 1,200 square foot space. We were doing parties on one side of that 1,200 square foot place, and then right in the little 4 salon chairs that you see in there, we were doing hair. We were cramming all that in one space, and it was. And so then we as we learned that, this is very lucrative. Like, people are really getting their kids' hair done. They need help getting, with hair. Then we opened the salon next door. We didn't even see that coming, really.
Right. Yeah.
We just saw it, Dave. We saw it also as I guess, a way of being an entrepreneur, a way of now showing our kids, if you work hard, you can own your own. And like Jenise said, just kids, just kind of letting loose, having fun, kind of showing them it's all right to take care of yourself, treat yourself, have fun parties. And it was just something, once again, it was something totally different out the norm than what we always currently see.
And what's so special about it too is that, everybody's not going to always parents are not going to always book parties, especially like sometimes in the summer months. A lot of parents are going on vacation. Well, once again, the hair salon, the hair side of it, they're still getting their hair done. Like, that's nonstop. It's never going to stop. No matter what is going on.
That's the constant revenue.
It's constant all the time, But we didn't even see that coming. We just thought, oh, this is gonna be fun, cute little kids' place for them to have parties. And even if they're not booking the parties right now, the hair is steady.
So the steady hair thing is you, Jenise. You're the planner. You're the steady one. The parties, that's the Dell. That's the, hey, let's jump out of the plane. Oh, wait, throw me my parachute.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, look, it all works together, right?
I want to stop here because I think there's something really beautiful happening that could easily get overlooked. When people hear stories like this, we sometimes are tempted to think, well, God just gave them a business idea. But that's not really the whole story. What strikes me is that Dell and Jenise weren't chasing a business. They were chasing clarity. They weren't fasting and praying so that they could become entrepreneurs. They were simply trying to become people who could hear God a little more clearly. And when the idea came, it wasn't some grand, flashy, $1 million vision. It was a 5-year-old little girl wanting a spa party. There's something wonderfully humble about that. They didn't dismiss it because it seemed too small. They didn't say, God, can you give us a better idea? They simply became faithful with the opportunity that was right in front of them. And here's what I love. Once they were faithful with that little opportunity, they began to see opportunities that they never could have imagined at the beginning. The salon side of the business wasn't part of the original vision. It was something they discovered because they were already serving people really well. That reminds me of the biblical principle that faithfulness often comes before expansion. Sometimes God doesn't hand us the whole blueprint. like in the parable of the talents, he simply asks us to be good stewards of what's already in our hands. Then, as we're faithful, we're able to see possibilities that were invisible when we first started. So now, did any of your family or friends, when you told them what you're going to do, you're going to quit your jobs, that you're doing well, you've got jobs where you're going to be well taken care of, did they go, this is nuts? Try to talk you out of it?
Well, here's the thing, Dave. No one knew about any of this until we were opening.
We moved in silence.
Really?
Yeah, we
We moved
we
in
we just
silence.
moved in silence. I think
So you
we
knew
told
they were
our
going to be like, you guys are crazy.
and we just I didn't need that.
Yeah, yeah,
Dale, he can hear that and he'd be like, whatever, I'm still gonna do it. It doesn't matter. But me, I was already very fragile and like I wouldn't say unsure, but just
Nervous, very nervous.
very nervous. Because remember, I'm a planner. It's got to make sense. I'm a realist. Like, so if I can't see it yet, I'm like, how is this going to take place? And I didn't need anybody telling me, are you sure? I don't know.
And,
right,
Dave,
right.
to add to the biggest thing I think what we discussed about telling people on the front end, but what kept coming to my spirit was, God didn't give them the vision.
Right.
So quite naturally, they're not gonna see it.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
true.
And so a lot of times that's why it's important to move in silence
Yeah.
because everybody won't see what you see. And so quite naturally, they're gonna be negative because
Yeah,
it's gonna be just like whoever started the first hamburger joint or chicken sandwich. You crazy, man. You're not gonna make money off of that. Well, it's a big world for this, and people do want that. It's just
Yeah.
not present.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, you're right. You're right. And then when you tell them, well, I fasted and prayed about this, so that's how I know it's right. That sounds even crazier to some people.
Yeah.
It
So
does.
you
That's
went
right.
Yeah.
without eating, and
Right.
and
Yeah.
that's your answer. So yeah, I could see why it's just like, you know what, I'm just going to do this, and
Yeah.
let the results speak for themselves. So
That's it.
Yeah, and that's exactly even with opening up the natural hair studio, the suite next door. Once again,
Moved in silence.
people knew when it was opening day. We put an announcement out there, and there you go. I mean,
Even when we were building it out, people
Yeah.
still didn't. We David, one thing you gonna learn, we have a very unique ability to be quiet.
yeah,
Now my wife say, now she do say I may talk a little too much at times, but I have a very unique ability of knowing when to be quiet.
it's called discernment. You gotta have it.
so
Yeah,
when people use the phrase sneaky good, like you guys are sneaky good at business.
There you go.
yeah.
Yeah. Well,
It's just that I have to hear from God, and if I'm trying to hear from God, and then I'm trying to hear from people, I'm just all like too much noise.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, you're right. Sometimes it's hard to discern, what voices you need to listen to.
right. Yeah. So
You listen
And
to
they,
too many, and sometimes, I mean, God speaks to us through other people,
yes,
and so
he
it's
he
does.
does.
He
He
does.
does.
And then so you're like, and I said, because there were people along the way that would kind of speak stuff into us. Didn't know that we were building SugarPlum Kids, and they would speak different things, and I'm like, okay, God, I hear you.
yeah, a lot of places, like they do a lot of research on the actual location and they know the demographics and they do all that. Did you guys do a lot of that, or was this all part of,
Um,
Well, you
intuition or
know,
the spirit or?
the shorter version is, we were trying to go to a different location outside of Trussville.
we're looking at 280.
We were looking at Highway
Highway
280,
280.
and that didn't work out. It didn't work out for a reason. And
Because in our minds we thought high traffic area.
Right, yeah.
And I
nice
failed to thinking
central
central
location,
location and 280 is 280 at the time. It was just. Oh
but that
man.
didn't
Yeah.
work out. And I remember the day that it didn't work out. And me again, being a planner, it's got to make sense. it's got to be realistic. I was like, Dale, just let's be done with this. Like, and he's like, no, like, we're going to call this number. There was a number at the Pinnacle Shopping Center. You know how they put the leasing numbers outside of the buildings or whatever. He was like, no, we're going to call them and, you know, just go from there. Dave, we called them and it just started flowing.
That's when you know.
You know.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, the other places that we had looked at, it was so much resistance. It was, you know, you can't get people to call you back, and it was just.
And Dave, I'm gonna tell you how you really know. And like I said, we're not gonna tell this in the church, but how you really know, because one of the places we looked at on 280, it was a former salon. So in our minds, we
We
were
were like, this is it. We were like, this is it.
This is it.
This
Oh
is it.
God! In our mind, we was like, oh, this is it. So when it didn't happen. And then when she just explained how she felt, I was like, "No, we're not quitting that easy.
Yeah.
We're not quitting."
Yeah.
So we wrote down, got the number, and the suite that we had is total opposite of believing. Because you walk in, you like, man, we have to build this place out.
Yeah.
It's not. We got to get water. We got to get sinks.
Yeah.
We just like that's when you know, okay, I'm starting to see the bigger picture now.
And we needed
Yeah.
to be. We needed
need
to
it.
be in Trussville. This is where our kids are. You know, we got to quickly run and pick them up, and it's
But you got to get to the business
Yeah.
at night.
yeah. I
That
mean,
nature. So it
it worked out perfectly. You know.
But
Yeah.
we were. Yeah, I told her. I said, "No, we're not quitting that easy now."
So if somebody has never been into Sugar Plum Kids and they're going to throw a little spa party for their 8-year-old daughter, she's like, I want to have a spa party there. What can they expect? What's that experience going to be like for them?
Well, we handle everything, Dave, from the decorations to the invitations. We made it to where our parties are all inclusive. That means the parent just shows up. You come with your guests. You don't have to, because a lot of times planning parties can be stressful. You know, you got to worry about what are we going to eat? What is the decorations going to look like? What are the invitations? We provide the spa robes. The little girls have their little spa robes on. We provide the light snack, dessert, the favor bags, the invitations. So it for them, they can expect, the parents can expect to just relax and not have to do anything. We provide everything.
Because when you do parties for
Right.
your kids, you do party for your kids. The parents are the ones doing the most work,
Yeah.
and
Right,
so we
yeah.
actually kind of take
Well,
pride.
let's face it, Dell, the moms are doing the most work. The dads,
Yes.
if it's up to us, it's like,
We like,
Yes.
go
Yes.
Little
Yes.
Caesars, go play some clutch football in the yard.
Yeah.
we'll be like, just give them some cheese, they'll be all
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, yeah, and moms, they walked away like, oh
They have.
my God,
They have.
like
Yeah.
this has been,
Like they can really sit back and enjoy the party. They can take the pictures. And that's for those at least those 2 hours.
yeah,
They are free of any responsibilities as it relates to running the party, and that was one of our goals for the parents.
so we have the staff there. The staff are there servicing the girls, depending on the party package that they choose. They're there to service the girls. We, break the girls up into different stations. After we've serviced them, then, they'll enjoy their light snack and dessert, and they'll open gifts, and then we play games, we do photos with them. And so once again, it's all inclusive. We
Yeah.
try to think of everything that a party would need and handle that for the parents.
Yeah. No, that's great. So who's your like I'm listening to you talking, I'm thinking, who's the target market? Is it the kids or is it the parents, or
That's a
is
good
there because the parents are the ones paying for it, and
Yeah,
kids ain't got that money, so
right.
so
I
so
think I think it's both, Dave. I think we've reached a place, though, a lot of the kids, they'll say, I want to have my party here because I came to my friend's party last year. Or my friend at school was talking about how she had a party, or she came to Sugar Plum Kids. I told my mom to bring me here. So it's a combination of both, because just like the kids are talking at school, the moms are talking as well. So it's a lot of word of mouth now,
A lot of times when others have come in, they've kind of told us like, yeah, such and such told me about this venue for my daughter. A lot of times it be the parents. It be
Yeah.
the parents telling other parents. And then
Yeah.
we've had some girls that come back and have 3 or 4 birthdays
Yes.
at our venue.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
Yeah, they've
Wow.
had their party year.
Like 2 or 3 years
yeah.
later, they come back. It's crazy.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah,
So
it's been a blessing.
you market to the kids, but you sell to the parents, I guess.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
That's it.
right. That's
That's it.
right. Because
Yeah.
we know that, parents, we're gonna do whatever we have to do for our kids, you know.
I think most people listening who own a business might have to, are probably wondering, or at some point have wondered this. What's it like to be in business with your spouse? Like, what are, you guys have built this from the ground up. So, what are some of the things that you've gone through? I mean, you mentioned earlier how your personalities complement each other,
Yeah.
but tell me some of the biggest things that you've learned and how it's shaped who you are.
Well, I'll say this. I think that us being married 22 years played a part in it too. I don't know if I would suggest this to newlyweds, you know.
This is advanced stuff, huh?
Yeah, yeah, you kind of gotta know.
You gotta be married about 10 plus years, man. Before you can do this.
I mean, because you're gonna argue, you're
Otherwise,
gonna
she's kicking you out of the plane without the parachute.
right,
Hey, and,
right.
and would not throw me one.
She's ripping it off your
Yeah,
back as she's kicking you out the door.
yeah, it's
Well, you know what?
you just gotta understand each other. Dale and I at the time had been married, of course, 10 plus years, 12 years or whatever. And so you're gonna disagree. You're not gonna see eye to eye. It's because and then it's certain parts you're stressed about, and I would, some of my stress would, I would take out on Dale, and you just gotta understand each other. Like, listen, I know you're frustrated. Breathe, you know. Let's get back on track, So
Yeah.
Well, the biggest thing, Dave, I've learned that as long as I change those light bulbs when she asks me to, we'll be all right.
that is true.
Hey, look, man, anything else, no, change light bulbs and mop the floor. That's it, mop the floor.
That is true.
But now, from my standpoint, yes, I think it's more good than bad
Yeah.
because for one, when you're in business with your spouse, depending on the relationship that those spouses already have, now that's gonna play a big factor. But
Yeah.
for one, because I can trust her.
Yeah, that's
Now,
true.
a lot of people, as crazy as it sounds, they don't trust their spouse.
That's true.
And then sometimes when money may get involved, it may even be something more difficult. But trust is very important. And if I can't trust her, if I can trust her at home, I can definitely not trust her at running a business.
Right.
So, and what I mean by trust, I just mean by knowing business gonna get handled, knowing that
Right.
if she says something, it's the right intentions, it's the best outlook for the business, things of that nature. So, well, you're gonna have difficult days. I would say disagreements, yeah, that's part of. You're gonna have disagreements in your marriage. That's just part of it.
Yeah.
But if you can still compromise and come back to the standard that you all live on, then it should be good. If I walk away not listening to her, or she walk away not listening to me on a very vital piece of conversation we're having, then that's a problem. You're gonna have a problem whether it's in your business or not. But I
It
would
brought
just
us
say,
together. It brought us together more than it divided us.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah,
I will say that.
so you feel like it strengthened your marriage more
Oh
than
my
it.
God,
yes,
yes.
because you
Yes.
really, you know what, Dave,
You
you
pray
really
more
see, yes,
together. Like we've come more together spiritually.
and you really see
too.
who had your back.
Yeah.
You really do. You just
Yeah.
like, 'cause you've owned businesses. You understand how you just have those days where
Right.
it just wasn't a good day.
Right.
And
Yeah.
sometimes you need somebody that you even me being a manager, I can lean on
Right.
because it's just the way it is.
Right.
And I think that's the part that is good. So yeah, I would tell anybody, if you already know your spouse and you all have a beautiful relationship, then I don't see nothing no different than running a business. You know, some days you gotta be like, all right, I've seen you all day. Let me let me go outside, and it's one blade of grass just popped up. Let me go get that blade of grass.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've had my own company for years and going to different conferences, and then now working with a lot of small business owners, and then getting to tell the story of a lot of small business owners on this podcast. I, I have seen this over and over and over again. The businesses that do really well, more than the I'm not saying that right. Businesses that have two people, whether it's a husband, wife, a father and son, two brothers, whatever it is, they do better
Yeah,
than a solo operator. And it's
I can see that. I
nothing
can see
against the
that.
solo operator. It's just you've got two people with skin in the
Yes.
game, and
Yes.
you you
Yes.
know and you need each other.
And Dave, I want to add to that while you were saying that, and I think another part that's really strengthened us as it relates to our business relationship and our marriage is that we have the mindset and personalities that we're never envious if one is doing something better than the other.
Right.
So I think some people they go into business.
I guess a competition.
Like it's a competition. Oh, and oh, I'm not gonna do this because so you won't get there. Oh no, what you trying to do? No, because that's not about. If she has something, I have something. If I
Right.
have something, she has something. And so, I think as long as people keep that mindset about it, it is not a competition. You are working together to
For a
meet a
common goal.
common goal.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
think some people go in with the intention, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. He gonna do what he want to do, I'm doing what, and they gonna do what they want to do. It would never work. It would never last.
yeah. Oh, that's such a great point. I love that. Yeah. Because, that's an abundance mindset, like, hey, there's enough for everybody. So
Right.
let's share in what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, I love that. Listening to Dell and Jenise, I don't think the secret to building a business together is that they rarely disagree. They've already told us that's not true. The secret is that they never stop being on the same team. Did you notice how many times in this conversation one of them was carrying the other? When Jenise was ready to quit because the first location fell through, Dell said, "No, we're not quitting." But then later, Dell talks about those days that every business owner has when everything feels heavy, you just feel like giving up. And he says sometimes he just needed somebody to lean on. Jenise became that person. And that's what healthy partnerships look like. They take turns at being the strong one. There's seasons when your faith is going to be stronger than mine, and there's seasons when my courage is going to carry both of us. Sometimes one person has the vision while the other provides stability. Then 6 months later, those roles might reverse. I also loved what Dell said. If she has something, I have something. If I have something, she has something. That's a marriage and a partnership that's free from competition. There isn't a scoreboard. Nobody's trying to prove that they're more important or more valuable. A win for one is a win for both. And I honestly think that's one of the reasons that they've been able to build what they've built. Their business isn't powered by two individuals chasing their own success. It's powered by one partnership pursuing a shared purpose. So, so what's been the hardest season of owning a business? Is it starting up? Is it hiring your first employees? Or, what's the hardest season for you guys?
The hardest season, well, it was hard starting up. It was hard starting because you have really nothing to
How many days did you
go
sat
off
there?
of.
How many days you sat there and nobody?
Yeah, I tell people this story for the first probably 4 or 5 months to a year. I sat in Sugar Plum Kids during the week. Dave, I would sit there 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Nobody,
Wow.
nothing, no
Wow.
customers. Now
Yeah.
the first weekend that we opened, it was great. Grand opening is always gonna be great.
Yeah.
We had our first spa party the first weekend that we opened, but nobody talks about after that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would just sit in there, but I stayed the course. I tell people, because people get caught up in quick, fast. It's got to happen right now. If it
Own your
don't,
own business.
yeah. And I can
Yeah,
own my own
yeah,
business. I can open it and I can walk away from it and it's gonna run itself.
Negative.
And no,
That's not gonna happen. I can tell you
yeah.
that.
So
yeah,
the startup was hard because then you got to get employees. And who wants, a lot of times it's hard to find employees to work for a startup business. We were a startup business. It wasn't like we bought into a franchise,
From the ground up.
right, yeah,
you know. So
So you
yeah,
that
got
was
you got to hire stylists. You got to make sure that and everybody uncomfortable with kids. Everybody don't like kids.
right.
So
right,
we are asking adults to come around kids all day, every
Yeah.
day, or however long they work.
Yeah.
And so
That was the hard
that was
part.
a little shift too. You got to be mindful that make sure you have the right person around kids.
That's true.
right. Yeah, no, I've thought about that. You guys have been really successful with this, and a lot of that, and you have an employee that's been there a really long since you opened, right?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
that's
Yes.
that's got to be a part of it because yeah, when it comes to kids and the experience, because you're providing an experience, it's
Mhm.
not other than the regular haircuts, but even with the haircut, you're still providing an experience of how that
Yeah.
happens. But
Hmm.
the spa parties, that's an experience. So it comes
Yes.
down to the person who is creating that experience for them.
Hmm. And then
The coming back.
we realized in order to have this thing grow and be successful somewhat, you have to have systems in place,
Oh
because
man.
people think just because it's kids that we just supposed to let them run around, jump, scream, holler,
Nope.
kick, tear stuff up,
Nope.
and so
There's a standard.
that we did have
Yeah,
to, you have to create standards, systems, and expectations. And so, you know, that helped too with the success
Well,
of Sugar Plum
on the
Kids.
well,
front
well,
end,
tell,
Dave, a lot of credit to Jenise on the front end. On those when the customers slowly started coming in, she stuck to that policy of their kids, but they still have to behave as such, because you want to make sure that the stylist herself is not going bonkers because kids crying. And then when parents bring their children, you want the environment to be pleasant. You don't want to have a bunch of kids when they're screaming and crying, or everybody gonna
yeah,
run out.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, like what we were talking about, you're creating this experience, for people, and that can be a really negative experience. But at the same time, you don't, you know, you can't provide an experience where people feel like you're being mean to their kid, or
Right.
that, or you're
Right.
being mean to them. Um, and we live in a very kid-centric culture, in this age,
Hmm.
where, some people believe their kid can do no wrong. So
Right.
tell me how because you've been really successful, and I know your personality. You're not, you wouldn't be mean to somebody. So how did you walk me through your thinking process of like, okay, I've got customers and this, I can see it on their face. This isn't working for them, that this kid is screaming over here, running around. This is, like walk me through the process where you said, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is how it's going to be. And this is what I'm comfortable enforcing.
Well, I think this is where I lean in on my prior teaching experience.
Hmm.
So it played a part in that,
Yes.
because it kind of reminded me of my classroom, and our principals always taught us to have good classroom management. And so I realized that, and in the beginning, we didn't have a lot of kids just in there screaming, crying. We did have one particular client that we would service quite often, and she would cry, like in terror cry. And I realized, okay, my mind went back to my teaching days. I have to create some type of management in here. For one, she's crying as if we're hurting her, and I don't ever want kids to feel like they're being tortured or hurt. So I'm like, this this isn't gonna work. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
It's like sitting in
So
the lobby of the dentist and hearing somebody screaming.
yeah, yeah. And so I just kindly had a side conversation with her mom, not in front of the kid, just with her mom. And I said, hey, look, we don't want her to in any way remember Sugar Plum Kids as a place where she was just completely tortured. So let's just wait because we would braid her hair quite often. And I said, let's just wait until she gets older and she enjoys coming here. So it's all in wording,
Okay. Yeah. 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 No, that's very smart. Yeah.
and the teacher in me, once again, that was just the teacher in me. I've had conferences with parents before, so it just felt like a parent conference, almost, And so the mom was very understanding because I wasn't rude, like your child can't come back here anymore. It was
Yeah.
just like, hey,
It's all about your delivery.
it's all about your deliverance, and we don't want to scare her because at this point she's walking in crying.
Yeah, she's
So
traumatized.
so now it feels like we're traumatizing her. We don't want her to
Right.
feel that way. So yeah,
Yeah. No, that's so smart. And yeah, you drew on your experience and the
yeah,
training that you already had. And yeah, no, that's great because that's a hard thing to if you don't have that sort of training and experience,
right.
you could get frazzled and make a lot of mistakes in that
You
area.
could, you can definitely, because you're stressed because all you hear is a bunch of screaming, and so you will kind of act out like, listen, you and your kid gotta go, but you can't do
That's the
that.
voice in your head, but it's not coming
Oh,
out your mouth.
hey, Dave, you beat me to it. I was gonna say that. Now I'm thinking it, but I'm not. But you gave a great example about one of the mothers had went away and came back. She had moved to the state. And
Oh yeah, I told Dave
oh,
about
that's
that
right,
one
she told
already.
you.
Yeah.
So what have you learned about hiring and leading people? Like some of the things that you've done well, maybe some of the mistakes you've made. What are some big things that have stuck with you?
Oh man.
While she's thinking, I'm gonna say this about the hiring part. You really learn and you see that the younger generation, those are the hardest ones to hire because they're still kids and they don't understand work ethic. They don't
Mm,
understand what it takes that, because everybody caught up in social media right now. I understand that, but from our conversations, we learn from the hiring process. We would never put a cap or you got to be this age and like that. But I would always know when we saw younger people interviewing, it just wasn't to me. It wasn't going to last just
right.
because where the mind state of is that small range, maybe between 21 and 28, 30, whatever it may be. That was the biggest thing I learned. I like,
I
it's
learned that when we first opened, I would look at it as just me being very type A. My personality is very type A, on task, got to get the job done. And so that is how I was kind of running it as far as hiring staff. It was like, come in, get the job done. As long as you get the job done, have a great day. As I continued to hire staff, it became more of a slight ministry to me. Because a lot of the girls are much younger than I am, at least by 20 years, and so even if they didn't stay, even if they realized they wanted to go a different career path, I still use that time to kind of, speak life into them,
me too.
mentor
Yeah.
them,
Yeah.
So it kind of shifted a little bit for me. At first, in the beginning, I was just like, hey, come get this job done, do what you got to do, go home, show up on time, and then as time went on, it shifted.
Yeah. Well, that's yeah. I mean, that's really being a leader,
Yeah,
is that is your job, as a leader, is to pour yourself into others,
yeah,
and help them so that they can go where they need to go on their own.
right.
So, yeah, but that's a tough job. I mean, hiring people and training them. You mentioned that you had systems. So did everybody know and understand whether it was a system for, okay, this is, If a mom brings a kid in here and the kid's screaming, you're not always there to handle it, but with your training, you can handle it really well. Did everybody understand, hey, this is how we handle this, and know exactly how to take
Yeah,
care of that
so
situation?
yeah, and that was a part of like even hiring. I remember one young lady that I spoke with, and I let them know in the beginning that that's a non-negotiable. It's not if, well, I can handle them crying. It's not if you can handle it. It's a non-negotiable. It's the policy here, and it's just to create the best environment for everybody. It's not to be
Right.
mean and single out one parent. It's just for the best environment for everybody. And I remember this young lady, and she was honest. She ended up not taking the job. She was honest. She knew that she would be okay with him crying, you know.
Yeah.
And I was glad that she was honest with me, but it's just a non-negotiable.
Right. Right. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
one of the systems that we have, in place at Sugar Plum
That's for
Kids,
the
and
long haul.
like that's very true, Dale. It's just for the long haul. It's for the betterment of the business as a whole.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you can't argue with it, because systems are there to really to make everybody's job easier.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what the goal is. Everybody knows that this is how you get to that goal, and it's easier to work together as a team. And so,
Right.
Yes.
And then you have to worry about safety too. You can't tie kids down, restrain them, and try to force them to. I mean, now that's legal stuff. It's way too.
They laughing because hey, now see, Daddy, if it's me, it might be tied to a chair while I'm braiding the hair.
No.
knock them out. You're not allowed to do that. Huh?
And I'm just gonna say that she fell asleep. Daddy, she just fell asleep.
I want to point out something that I think every business owner should hear because it's easy to miss this. When we talk about customer experience, we usually think about smiling employees or great customer service, but that's not actually where customer experience begins. It begins with the owner. Listen to the chain Jenise just described. She decided what kind of environment she wanted families to experience. That became a policy. The policy became a system. The system determined who they hired, and those team members then created the experience that every customer would have. And none of that happens by accident. One thing that really stood out to me was that Jenise never let the loudest customer redefine the culture of her business. When one little girl was terrified every time she came in, the easy thing to do would have been to keep taking the appointment because that's revenue. But instead, she stepped back, asked what's best for this child, and what's best for every other family who's here today, and what's best for my team. That's leadership. Too many business owners believe the phrase, the customer is always right, means that the customer gets to dictate how the business operates. And I don't believe that. I believe the owner is responsible for designing that experience. Customers decide whether they like that experience, but they don't get to define it. And Jenise understood that. She built systems that protected the experience she wanted every family to have. And because those systems mattered, they also influenced who they hired. Some people simply weren't the right fit, not because they're bad people, but because they're not able to create the kind of environment Sugar Plum Kids wanted to be known for. And that's what great businesses do. They don't leave culture to chance, they design it. Looking back on that, if you could go back to your opening day, is there anything that you would do different, or is there any advice that you now would give to yourself on that day?
Smile more. It's the simple things. It's because, yeah, Dale, he would tell me all the time, like, you gotta smile more because,
She wouldn't be mean or nothing, but that's just she had that business face. And I was
yeah,
like, I said, sometimes, and look, sometimes during the party, I just kind of walk up to her and say, hey, I said, fix your face a little bit.
yeah, I learned so much.
So she's died in, but she has a face. She look mean. When I was like, I just come by, I be like, fix your face, and then she be like,
Yeah,
Give yourself a makeover.
yep,
Yeah,
we have everything here for it. Just
yeah,
go do it.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's
Well,
something so simple, but that's the first thing came to my mind when you asked me that. So,
yeah. Well, I know there's going to be a lot of listeners that are going to want to come check you guys out. Where can they learn more about you guys, or where can they find you?
yeah, so our website is www.sugarplumkids with an S spa.com. So that's sugarplumkidsspa.com. All of our information is on the website, our phone number, the address. We're located in Pinnacle at the Pinnacle Shopping Center in Trussville, Alabama. So, but yeah, our website.
Sugar Plum Kids will pop right up.
You said what now?
If they can't remember it, if they just Google Sugar Plum Kids, we pretty much pop right up.
Right. Okay.
Like the first one. So,
Excellent. Yeah. Yeah. Well, before we wrap up, there's probably going to be somebody, more than one, but somebody listening today that feels exactly the way you guys felt a few years ago, stuck, burned out, frustrated, wondering if they should pursue a dream that's been sitting in the back of their mind. What would you say to that person?
The now version of me would say do it. I mean, because if you don't do it, somebody else is going to do it. Somebody's going to take your idea and they're going to do it and they're going to make a lot of money off of it. So go for it.
Dave, I would say same thing, and just don't let fear stop you. Like it's what a lot of times drives me, even go to the gym, work out, whatever it may be. I always tell Jenise, it's so easy not to. It's so easy not to do it. And so many people take the easy road. So many people just go along with the norm, the status quo. Don't let, if you know you have something special, if you're definitely preparation, prepare, research, prepare. But the biggest thing is do it. Just
Yeah.
don't let 10 years go by and you sit back and tell yourself, if I ask one of these individuals that are listening, why didn't you do it? And if your answer is because I was scared, I'll be like, that's the main reason not to do it.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
because we always have something that's going to be fearful, but do it. Do not let fear be the reason you do not step out on faith.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
No.
just have to, yeah, you have to take a step. For us, I know saying do it sounds so easy, but do it can look like research. That's where I started. I just started Googling kid spas. I just started researching on my computer, just taking a step. Each day I would, I remember after I would Google, I came across a name of a guy. He had a lot of kid spas in the Cali location. I just reached out to him. I was like, hey, either he'll contact me back or he'll ignore me. Either way, but I got to do something. So do it looks different for different people, but do it means just take a step. You know what I mean?
And Dave, this is coming from an introvert. Jenise is an introvert.
Yeah.
So if anybody's saying, "Well, I'm to myself,"
Right.
there's
Yeah.
no excuse.
Yeah.
She
Right.
takes, as you can tell, I'm the out guy. So,
Yes.
but
Right.
but
If you have the excuse that I'm an introvert, I'm a planner, I'm all those things too. I promise you I am. I'm all those things too, so
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a perfect place to end. I
yeah.
appreciate you guys sharing your story. It's an amazing story, and you're going to inspire the listeners for sure.
thank you,
Thank you,
thank,
Dave.
thank you for having us,
Thank
Dave.
you for having us.
You're welcome. Thank you for being on the show.
All right.
All right.
Talk to you soon.
What I love about Dell and Jenice's story is that it reminds us that businesses don't become successful by accident. They become successful because owners intentionally build them that way. They built systems, they protected their culture, they trusted one another, and little by little, they built a business that could grow beyond what they first imagined. If you're a business owner listening to this and you feel like you've hit a wall, that no matter how hard you work, your business isn't growing the way you'd hoped, I want to invite you to something I'm really excited about. This month, I'm hosting a free webinar for business owners called the owner trap, how to get your business running better without you. We're going to talk about why so many businesses become dependent on the owner and how to build systems that allow the business to run better without you, and why working harder is almost never the answer. You can find the registration link in the show notes. I'd love to have you join us. And if you enjoyed today's conversation, please subscribe, leave a review, leave a comment, share this episode with another business owner, because stories like Dell and Jenise's, they remind us that building a great business, it's not about finding the perfect idea. It's about faithfully building the one you've been given. Until next time, remember, build a business worth building so that it gives you a life worth living.